Hi, I'm Lori Betts. Welcome to Golden Years. This month, I have a special guest, Jay Regallis from Signature Solutions, and he is going to give us some tips on how to stay safe in your home.
See these hands? They grip the wheel of a Humvee in Afghanistan.
These hands? They're here for the person who fought in Afghanistan.
Confidential help is just a call, click, or text away.
Hi, welcome back. I have Jay Regallis from Signature Solutions. And Jay, you really do have a unique company that you do work for. And if you've watched my shows in the past, my goal is always to keep you seniors safe in your house. And I always tell my mother, you need these tools because if you want to live alone and stay out of that nursing home, you need all these tools that are out there for your safety. So Jay, tell me a little bit about Signature Solutions.
Thank you, Lori. Appreciate very much just having me here today to talk about this. It's very near and dear to my heart. Signature Solutions is a company that focuses on aging in place remodeling, and that may take a little explanation in itself. Aging in place is actually a very specific specialty. It was created by an agreement, if you will, between the AARP and the National Association of Home Builders. So, and as part of the National Association of Home Builders, they also have a division that's called 50 Plus, which really advocates for seniors when it comes to home building and home modifications. So they designed a program called Aging in Place Certification. I am a certified Aging in Place specialist. And the whole idea is to be aware of the special needs that we all need as we grow older to make sure that our homes are safe.
And our bodies change.
They
do. Something that you could do like even 10 years ago, you're not able to do it as quick or as safe as you used to be.
Well, you bet. Probably the biggest cause of injuries, both severe injuries and fatal injuries, are falls. As we get older, falling becomes something that can really be devastating. A broken hip can lead to a lot of bedtime, which can lead to pneumonia, which of course can lead to death. So being safe at home is so critical. And considering the expense that's required to move into an assisted living community is very high. It can run from $3,000 to $5,000 to $8,000 a month and higher. And many families, most of us, are not able to afford those types of expenses. So being able to make modifications to our homes ensures that anyone who wishes to stay at home can stay at home a lot safer, a lot longer.
And I tell a lot of my seniors, it is your home. Who cares if you have a bar coming from your garage into your door? It's something for you to grab hold of. You know, who cares if you have the safety bars on your walls in the bathroom? You know, and definitely in your shower. That's a need.
Yeah, it sure is a need. And the nice thing is today that there are so many things that have improved. So we're not just necessarily having to choose from chrome bars to put in the bathroom. There are really some beautifully designed products now that will fit just about any mode of decoration that someone has in their home. So of course the basics are always available, but then there are lots of improved products from a design standpoint as well. Cosmetically much more appealing.
Okay. Are there, before we go into that, are there organizations or, because I know Medicare is not going to cover anything, can the senior get any help dollar-wise to help them pay for these renovations, remodeling?
Yeah, and of course a lot of it depends upon the extent of that remodeling and what the costs are going to be. There are programs available from a Medicaid waiver perspective. So as an example, there's the passport waiver, other programs that are available for families that really are indigent and don't have the financial means to make these modifications at home. So there's a process by which a family would make application through the Medicaid department, and companies that are certified working with the government to make those modifications can come out and do the work. Our company does not do that. We are basically a private pay program. But again, there are other resources available to families, whether it's refinancing mortgages or loans that are available. Many banks will sit down and talk with a family about helping to finance more expensive modifications.
But your company does go in and you're certified as far as like putting the bars on the wall. I know that's an issue. As far as insurance.
Yeah, you bet.
Liability.
It is, and I talk to families about this. One of the things that I'll do is go to someone's home and do an assessment for them. And that assessment would just be walking around the home with the homeowner and or their family, depending upon their medical condition. In many cases, there's someone that's just been released from the hospital. They have been undergoing rehabilitation or maybe continuing to do rehabilitation at home. So in many cases, we'll ask the occupational therapist to be there as well. And we will just walk the house and make suggestions. And then of course it's up to the family ultimately what they want to do with those changes, but it really is taking everything into consideration. Access to get from outside to inside, is the doorway free of barriers? Are they able to get in without anything there to trip them? Or maybe they're in a wheelchair and they require really a zero barrier resistance when they go into the house. We make sure that the walkways are clear, both inside and outside. In many cases, as we become less balanced, we have a tendency to want to have things very close so that we can lean on things as we get out of the chair and walk from maybe the living room to the kitchen. The problem with that is that most of the things that we try to lean on weren't designed to hold our weight. So someone might lean on the back of a chair, which can tip, or on a table, which is down low. And so I want to make sure that first and foremost, if they need assistance walking, swallow your pride and get your walker out, get your cane out and use it because it's there to help you. But most importantly, make sure that those paths are clear. Remove tripping hazards like throw rugs. Make sure that the chair and the coffee table aren't too close. Give plenty of room so that they can maneuver. No extension cords running across their path.
Oh, definitely.
Right? So,
and you're an outsider. And I mean, this has happened to me. I've gone into a house and the first question I asked the lady is, what is the purpose of the throw rugs? You were on a walker with wheels. That's an accident waiting to happen.
Yeah.
That daughter called me up and thanked me. She said, I have been telling Mom for months. So we, the outsiders, can tell them, what is necessary to remove.
Sure.
And they value your opinion.
Lori, it happens time and again. As part of the family, a lot of times mom or dad don't necessarily value your input, right?
Yeah.
They've been telling you what to do your whole life, and now
yeah.
suddenly you find yourself in the position of telling them what they should be doing, and they don't really see you as an authority. So when, as an outsider, I go in and say the same things that the daughter has been saying for months, now suddenly it carries a little extra weight.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Those throw rugs are beautiful. They're cosmetically adding to the beauty of the home, and mom's had it there forever, or dad's had them there forever, and they kind of want to hold on to them. But that throw rug can really cause problems, especially in bathrooms. We see them in bathrooms almost every time we go in. And I know the reason, I know they're there, but there's nothing soft in a bathroom. And if you trip and fall in there.
That's a very good point. There isn't.
It can be really devastating. Yeah.
And even let me throw in suction bars. I mean, I know I do sell them, but I tell people it's only an assist. It's not going to be a grab bar that's going to stay there forever.
Sure.
So if you purchase grab bars, you have to make sure, or the suction, to make sure, pull on it to make sure it's not going to pop right off. So that's why your permanent grab bars are the way to go in your showers, if at all possible.
You bet. so many times, and we will encourage families, if they have someone that's handy in the family that can install those things. It isn't necessary to bring in, someone from the outside always, but I caution them, be careful with what you're doing. An improperly installed grab bar can be devastating to someone who does rely on it to support their body weight if they start to fall, and if it doesn't support them, the fall can be even more treacherous. So they have to be installed properly if it's going to be a weight-bearing grab bar, something next to the toilet or in the shower, in the bathroom where they're really looking to grab on. I've had families tell me that they're using the towel rack.
Oh, we removed my mother's. That's been a godsend, a godsend.
There you go.
Yeah.
Right. So it really is all about making the home safe and more comfortable. And it doesn't necessarily have to be cosmetically deteriorating. It can be something that really enhances the home and can add value to the home for the next buyer. So we really try to take all of that into consideration when we do an assessment.
Yeah, and don't be concerned about what it's doing to the cosmetic, because you have to worry about your life right then and there.
Well, you bet. First and foremost, it's about the safety of the homeowner. First and foremost, everything else plays second fiddle to that. So be sure that you're doing things that just moving around the house is much safer. We talk about every room of the house will, in the bedroom, have the clothes hanging on a lower hanger rod instead of up high. That, again, I'm just thinking falls, right?
Oh, yeah.
So if the clothes are down lower and easier to reach, always have a chair next to where you're getting dressed or where you're getting your clothing from so you can sit down.
Not to stand on, to sit down.
Not to stand on.
Yeah.
Oh boy, yeah, thanks for that clarification,
Oh,
right?
yeah,
To have a place to sit. In the bathroom, talking about getting, those throw rugs out of there. Replacing doorknobs with levers that are easier to turn. In the kitchen, making sure that there's a landing area, if you will, for the dishes and plates that come out of the dishwasher. Where am I going to put these? If every time I take something out, I have to turn around and walk 3 steps to set it down, I'm just increasing the risk for something to happen. If someone's in a wheelchair, consider things like lowering the on and off switches or installing switches that automatically turn the lights on when someone enters the room and turns them off 30 seconds or so after they leave the room. So we try to just paint a picture for the family that says these are the things that could be done to make it safer for your dad or your mom or brother or sister or loved one to live here and continue living here safely. So it really is just kind of painting a great big picture and saying here are the things that you could do, and then discussing with the family the things that they may want to actually put in place.
Because you have to be safe in your home.
Have to be safe in home. And there are so many resources available to families. I've kind of made it my purpose to try to gather all of that information and make it available to families. University Hospitals has a great webpage about just things that can be done at home. And it talks about not just some of the modifications that we've talked about here, but also some of the things from a physical standpoint, making sure that the medications that you're taking are all current, that they haven't expired, that again, they're easily accessible. Just things like that will make everything a little bit better, right? So.
Yeah. And then make sure that they could pop open the medicine dispenser if they have a pill box. I mean, there's some that are user-friendly, and some it's hard for the senior to pop it open.
Yeah, how many
with
times?
Arthritis.
Oh yeah, right, exactly. That becomes one of the most difficult things. On many occasions, I've seen someone that's elderly, living alone with child-proof caps on medications that they really struggle with to get them off. So, and a lot of times they'll leave them off, which is not good for the medication, right? Because now it's just exposed to moisture and everything else, so that can really deteriorate the longevity of that medication.
And if that were to spill over, then you're going to have pills all over the place.
Everywhere.
All right, Jay, we're going to take a quick break. We're going to come on back, and you're going to tell me a little bit more about Signature Solutions.
I've got a job to do today.
I've got a job to do today.
Have a good first day at work, Mom. Your donations to Goodwill fund job training programs right in your community.
Feels good to start fresh, right?
Sure does.
And like that, you're a job creator.
Welcome back to Golden Years. I'm Lori Betts, and my guest this month is Jay from Signature Solutions, and we are discussing how to be safe in your own home. Jay, tell me, how did you get connected with Signature Solutions? Like, what is your background, history?
Sure, you bet. Historically, I was a business owner, a partner in a manufacturer's rep firm, but that's not what led me to this. I say this kind of tongue-in-cheek, but I want to grow up to be just like my daughter. It was a decision that I came to years ago. My daughter Jenny, when she was very young, 10, 11 years old, told me that when she grew up, she was either going to work with the elderly or work with kids. And I thought that was kind of amazing. You know, I want to grow up to be a fireman, you know, kind of thing. So through her adolescent years, she actually did a ton of volunteering, both at daycare centers and at nursing homes. And when she graduated from high school, I took her out to dinner and we were talking, and I asked her what she was going to do in college. And she said she had decided to go into elder care. And I was really taken aback at the time because, you know, an 18-year-old girl just out of high school getting ready to go into college, to make a decision like that was pretty impactful, I thought. And just so I said, Jenny, why? And she said, well, Dad, I think that kids, I love working with them, but they have all of their laughter and all of their love is in front of them. But I found working with the elderly that in many cases that's already behind them, and I think I can help. And I just thought, oh,
wow.
I was very impressed. It was just an emotional thing for an 18-year-old kid to say. So Jenny did. She graduated from college and went immediately into elder care, and she became an activities director for senior living communities, and she was working with Alzheimer's and dementia residents. She and her husband originally were living in Columbus while he finished his college career, and then they moved back to, her husband grew up in the Worcester area, so they made their home in Worcester. But she was driving from Worcester to Wadsworth and did that for about 10 or 11 years as the activities director for that wonderful community, taking care of dementia and Alzheimer residents. And one day,
I just want to say that's a special person.
It is a special person.
Oh, yes.
I've become very familiar with dementia and Alzheimer's because both of my grandmothers passed away from it, and my mother is an Alzheimer's resident. But Jenny basically said, Daddy, I need you to help me. So I, through her, became very involved with her residents. We would, you know, go on picnics and outings and so forth and just work with her on them. I play a little guitar, so I would go in and entertain the residents. And I was amazed at what happens when you introduce music to Alzheimer's and people that have dementia issues. So that really started leading me down a path that has become a real passion for me today, which is elder care. So this was 12 or 13 years ago. I still actively do that. I volunteer at different communities, playing guitar and whatever I can do to work with those residents. Very active with the Alzheimer's Association. So volunteer with those guys and am involved with their different walk programs and so forth to help raise funds for that terrible disease. So I spent probably about 12 months as the admissions and marketing director for a senior living community. And during that year, Lori, I learned that there were many families that had, they were all unique situations, but the situations had a general theme running through them, and that was their loved one, whether it was their mother or father or sister or brother, needed to be somewhere safer than where they were. There were tripping issues, and it just wasn't safe for them to be there, going up and down the stairs to use the second-story bathroom because there was nothing available on the first floor. And they didn't have the financial wherewithal to afford $3,000 or $5,000 or $8,000 a month, which is not uncommon in a private pay assisted living community. I was very blessed to know a guy by the name of Bruce Johnson. Bruce has for 28 years owned a restoration company, a ServPro company, actually owns 4 ServPro companies that goes in after fires and floods and helps people restore their homes, and their motto is to make them like it never even happened, right? And in talking with Bruce and Jacqueline Hutchinson, who is the Vice President of Business Development there for the company, Jacqueline had this seed that she planted, and it basically was, look, we have 28 years worth of experience in remodeling and restoration, helping people put their lives back together after they've had a major incident at home. So we decided to take that experience and start a new little company, and that new company is Signature Solutions. Signature Solutions is dedicated to helping people age in place. I am a certified aging in place specialist. It is a program that is a consortium between the AARP and the National Association of Home Builders. Those two came together and put together a series of guidelines, if you will, and a training program for people that want to help other people live safely at home. So as a certified aging in place specialist, Signature Solutions really focuses on helping people live longer and more safely at home.
So someone gets your phone number, they call you up and they say, can you please come over to the home and assess mom for what she might need in the house?
Yeah, although I would clarify that a little bit and say assess the house, not necessarily assess mom. And we'll work with, you know, and again, maybe it's a situation where someone has just returned home after a fall and they've been going through rehabilitation and maybe they need continued rehabilitation.
So you meet with the occupational therapist or the therapist? And,
sure, you bet. And that's another group that is really qualified and we work closely with because they do what we do. We go through that home and look at it with an outside set of eyes. And we see things that maybe the family doesn't see, or maybe the family does see and they've been telling mom about it for a while and maybe mom has or hasn't listened. And that goes right to the very things we were talking about earlier, making sure that the house is safe. And it doesn't always include spending a lot of money. Sometimes it is just reorganizing things, getting someone in to help them organize the home so that it's clear pathways walking from one area to the other, making sure that there are bright lights so that they can see when they're moving around the house, getting rid of those throw rugs, that type of thing.
So when you suggest all these items, do you make it happen if they say, okay, let's move forward with this?
You bet.
Okay, so you can, like with the lighting, do you have options or avenues where they could go to, or you guys make it happen?
Yeah, we can do pretty much anything that they want. So we can act as a general contractor and help coordinate with different groups, different people to come in and make sure that everything gets done to plan. We can do much of the work ourselves. We can widen doorways to allow wheelchair access. As an example, a lot of times moms or dad's in a wheelchair and they just can't get into the bathroom any longer. So being able to widen that doorway to allow access in and out, it's a pretty wonderful thing. It gives them a lot of freedom back. Installing handrails on both sides of the stairwells and maybe the hallways as well to give them something sturdy to hold on to instead of the back of a chair that may or may not support them.
Do you build wheelchair ramps?
We do.
Oh, okay.
You know, and I want to interject something here too. I get a lot of calls sometimes for someone that wants us to install a temporary wheelchair ramp. And I always suggest to them that if they go through the expense of having a custom installation of a wheelchair ramp, it can be expensive. You know, the ADA specifications require 12 inches of ramp for every inch of riser, so that can be a pretty long thing. But if it's just a temporary thing, if mom or dad is just going through some rehabilitation, it may be a matter of a few weeks or a couple of months before they will no longer need it, they can probably rent those for a lot less of an expense than having one custom installed that's just going to be removed later. But sure, we can do pretty much everything from helping them with the lighting, we can help them widen doorways, we can take out the bathtub and put in a zero barrier shower so they could wheel right in. So the modifications sometimes involve more than just getting rid of the throw rugs, so we can help them with all of that.
Oh, very good, very good. So would you change showers around? Like, you know how they have the bath companies that come in and pull out your shower and redo that. You guys could do that also.
Sure, and there are so many different options. And again, it depends upon, you know, the financial wherewithal of the family. As an example, sometimes mom still likes to take that Saturday night bath, right?
Yeah,
so if you yank the bathtub, then there is no option for them being able to take a bath. So we have an option where we can actually cut the side of the tub out, which allows them very easy in and out access. And then, oh, by the way, there's a little cap that reinstalls. It is unbelievably easy to take it on and off. It's a matter of lifting two little levers. The top comes off, step in, put the top back on, pop the levers back down, and it's watertight. So they can leave it off if they're getting in and out to shower. They can put it back on for that Saturday night soaker. So that might be a lesser expensive option than pulling the whole tub and installing a shower.
Or you could also, because we did it for my mom, and knock on wood, it's been a godsend. We did the bathtub cut. So she doesn't have to jump, you know, reach over the bathtub. She just walks in as she grabs onto all the bars. But that is phenomenal. It's only a shower. You know, she can no longer take a bath, but she's okay with that. You know, water on a body is wonderful.
Oh, yeah,
so whatever you can do to make it better for the senior is just phenomenal.
You know, sometimes it's just the simple things like having a shower head installed on a movable bar, right? Installing a fold-down seat so they can get into the shower, sit down, and have the shower nozzle right in front of them. So they're not reaching, they're not trying to grab levers that are up here. So it's just safety. Think, what could I do to modify this to reduce or eliminate the risk of tripping or falling? That's the mindset.
And a lot of people too, because when they come into my store, they don't realize what's out there. So, I mean, you going into their home and saying, okay, this could be done, you know, a shower head on a spray holder. I mean, you don't have to use the big one that's been there for years. You know, you got to use the changes that are out there, you know, the tools that make you safe.
You got it. It's all about thinking aging in place. What can I do? What modifications can I make that'll just make things easier and safer to continue living here? And it really is, if you just step back and think about, is it bright enough? Is it clear enough? Are things down where they're reachable? Little things like reminding someone that when they stand up, pause a second or two before you just start marching down the hallway.
Because we just go.
Right, we just stand up, want to go. So it's just, it's painting that big picture, Lori, just trying to make them understand that really you can continue to live here longer in many cases. Let's just make a few changes and it'll be better for everybody.
Safety. And I just want to just tell my seniors again that the Hands Foundation, the wonderful organization, nonprofit in Medina County, will give seniors senior wishes. So if you feel that your budget cannot afford some of these changes in your home, give us a call. And Cindy will help you through it, and maybe a wish could be granted that you could be safer in your home.
Right. Boy, what a wonderful idea, what a wonderful organization.
Well, Jay, thank you so much for being on my show this month.
Thank you.
And we will see you next month.
17 years ago, when I decided to become a mentor, that I was assigned to Christina.
There were people out there to help me and guide me through life.
The road I traveled with her was worth it. Be someone who matters to someone who matters.